course, we'll see the exciting routines tonight on the final stage. On the center line, please.
It would be a wonderful thing if it was an honest sport where you could have the best physiques on stage winning because they deserve to win. But it's not an honest sport. It had nothing to do with how good you looked. It was all about what was happening behind the scenes.
Bodybuilding is a sport that has long promoted itself as the pinnacle of health, fitness, and strength. Athletes are judged by their muscle mass, definition, and symmetry, on top of their ability to hold certain poses.
It's basically like a muscle beauty pageant. They're looking for a whole package, is what they're judging for.
But a Washington Post investigation found that over the course of 2 decades, female athletes were sexually exploited by leaders within the most premier U.S. bodybuilding federations. Many women felt that the competitions were rigged, and that the success of their careers hinged on taking nude photographs and catering to the mostly male judges, promoters, and managers.
There were so many people that could have stopped what was happening. It was just like a circuit.
The Post spoke with scores of women who competed in contests run by the Manions, a family that oversees the sport's biggest empire in amateur and professional bodybuilding. They run both the Amateur National Physique Committee and the International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness Pro League. According to critics and acolytes alike, the Manions have left an indelible mark on the sport over the last several decades. J.M. Manion, in particular, looms large in the industry.
We basically had to court JM. It's like, when you go to this show, go and look for JM, make sure he sees you and knows who you are.
J.M. Manion is the son of the league's president, Jim Manion, and the official photographer. He also runs a management company that has directed the careers of the sport's top female competitors and served as a gateway to endorsement deals, magazine covers, and other financially promising opportunities.
Okay, so just to catch everybody up, if you're new, if you haven't been here, if you're kind of like lost about who all these characters are. So basically, from my understanding, the group, the company that awards these trophies to female bodybuilders, to male bodybuilders, the guy, Jim, is the one who's like owns that. His son is the official photographer of the competition and also has a company where he trains women and represents women specifically, I guess. I don't know if he does men too or just women. And they also compete. So if you're a part of his talent group, how is that not a conflict of interest when your dad is the one who owns the entire company? So that's, I think, the insinuation they're making here. Like, he's the photographer. These women are going to now claim that, if you do these nude photos for him and he put them on like a website, and, whether they consented or not is up for debate in a lot of these women's cases. And he was making money off of these photos because he's the one involved and the one that is, the son of the owner. And also everyone knows who this guy is. He has pull with the judges. And there was some stat, we'll read about it, but it's like 18 out of the 20 that have won in the last whatever months, years, like 18 of them were under his company at some point. So they're saying favoritism. They're saying that, it's all rigged, which sort of makes sense. I mean, like I said, it's all subjective. How could you not be at some point tempted by doing what's going to make you most profitable if you don't have strong ethics,
But behind the scenes, JM was operating a vast network of paid websites that featured over 30,000 photographs of at least 200 female competitors. He took photos ranging from bikini shots to graphic sexual nudes.
There was no way he would have had that many beautiful women taking off their clothes in front of his camera or doing whatever else they were doing unless he was who he was in the business.
The Post reached out several times to JM for comment. He did not respond. The Post also reached out to Jim Manion for comment. In an emailed statement, a representative for Jim Manion responded that the MPC and IFBB Pro League are committed to providing a premium experience for our competitors, fans, event organizers, and partners. It goes on to say that the league has grown prize purses for female athletes and improved communications for our competitors to raise any concerns they may have with an event or their experience. And that all involved...
Like I said, the NPC News, okay, that I believe is also run by JM in some way. And Heidi's been on that website. Why is she not saying anything? Literally, it's not like, oh, I did that several years ago and I'm just not involved. You were at another fitness competition. I believe it's an IFBB competition, I think, that he was at. It seems very relevant. This came out 7 days ago. You know, I know why she's not saying something, but I think she should, either in agreement with the article and say, yes, I heard about that, and yes, I've seen it, and it's horrible, or, oh, I didn't know, but I believe the women that have come forward, or no, they're lying, and I 100% believe in the group that, you know, exists in the industry. But they've said nothing. I find that to be a disappointment.
With our organizations are committed to supporting our competitors.
The bodybuilding industry should be subject to very strict precautions for athletes because it is a subjective sport, because it is a judged sport. When you have these aesthetic sports, they are much more prone to different kinds of abuse.
You know, it's all about who you know and what kind of hookup you get. And it's not fair, but that's pretty much how they've made the industry.
The Post interviewed scores of former and current female bodybuilders about their experience with JM. Many described a relationship where they felt pressured to please JM and those within his immediate circle in order to advance their careers.
If you were signed by JM, if you were doing these nude photos on the website, you were going to be a pro and you were going to be a big name and you were going to get sponsored and you were going to just have this great life.
Mandy Henderson first fell in love with bodybuilding at 18.
Like, I was at the gym working out at like the age of 18 and I saw a female that she had muscle and I loved it and I totally thought, like, that's what I want to look like. I want to look like that kind of fitness model.
Henderson began competing in the mid-2000s. She met John Tuman, a show promoter and judge, who suggested she sign on with JM in order to get her pro card. The cost of competing can quickly add up, but only a small minority of bodybuilders ever make money. Earning a pro card not only allows athletes to compete in the most prestigious events, but it also means they can win greater prize money.
And so he just kept pushing like the JM thing. You know, you need a contract with JM management, JM this.
Henderson agreed to pose nude and received a contract from JM promising a 50-50 profit split for websites that involved quote-unquote Playboy-style photos. She said her first nude photo shoot with JM happened in Las Vegas during a competition weekend.
It was clearly said, like, if you do this photo shoot, you're going to get your pro card. So we go to this hotel room, and there's two other...
And again, Heidi has her pro card. I'm just going to say that. I don't know how she got it or how whatever. She has never said anything about, like, anything she's gone through that wasn't, you know, great and an amazing experience. So I'm not saying that, you know, anything happened, but they're talking about the pro cards as like this big thing that they want to get. Heidi does have hers. And she was telling Dave in that Instagram live thing or Instagram story, she was like, this is a big deal. And this sort of tracks with this, that she got it.
They're girls. And so we start taking pictures, and JM is the photographer, of course. Lingerie starts coming off and it's getting more and more revealing. At one point during the photo shoot, John Tuman came up behind me and I was wearing, I don't know if I was wearing anything or if I was just wearing skimpy lingerie, and he pressed the front of his body against me and I could feel his crotch area against my back area. Just sent chills up my spine and it made me want to throw up. But in the back of my mind, I just kept thinking, just go with it, because this is going to get your pro card. Like, you just need to do a photo shoot and then you're going to get a pro card, because that's what these men keep telling you. I go and I do the show and I end up not even in the top 15. I was just crushed. Like, here I am. I'm like, I just did this photo shoot, you know, completely naked, and I didn't even place in the top 15. And I remember John Tuman had said, just keep going, just keep going, just keep doing what, you know, JM is telling you to do, just keep being on the website, just keep doing this. And he said, and you'll get your pro card.
The Post reached out to Tuman, but he refused to hear Henderson's specific allegations. Instead, he responded, quote, "It's all lies," unquote. Henderson posed nude for at least one other group photo shoot. She never received any money for the photos. It would take several more years before Henderson earned her pro card at the USA's amateur competition in 2010. She quit shortly after.
The person that put in the most work and has the best physique, that's the person that should win. It should not be the person that is taking the nude pictures over here or doing whatever they're doing behind the scenes.
I think it's hard to overestimate just how much an athlete wants to win. Coaches know it, officials know it, other athletes know it. It's this giving up integrity by inches and having other people, I should say, take their integrity by inches.
Let's see if I can go back. Okay, so like it says 3 new divas are coming soon, and Jen Gates is one of them. I didn't think I was gonna be on a porn site. I didn't say okay to any of this.
Jen Gates rocketed to the top of professional women's bodybuilding in the late 2000s. She signed on with JM in 2007 after turning pro and began to do photo shoots with him.
The photo shoots were super awkward and super cheesy and not good photos. JM had asked me if I could go topless or take my bottoms off, and I just wouldn't do it. And he never pressured me a whole lot because I always was very guarded and always said, I'm a mom, I can't, and grinned and bared it.
Not long after turning pro, Gates won in the figure division at Miss Olympia in 2008. But Gates' personal life was tumultuous. She had filed for divorce and was in the midst of moving out when her husband died by suicide.
Oof.
Competing was not on my radar. It was the last thing I thought about. I had to take care of my kids, take care of myself, have a funeral, move everything out of my house that I'd lived in for 10 years. It was hard. It was hard.
Then Gates found out she was pregnant.
When I told JM I was pregnant, that's when I lost my sponsorship. I feel like they were just done with me. Like I had a baby and I just kind of got the message that I didn't get the placing I deserved. So at that time, I just decided I was gonna walk away from it forever.
Oh no, have bad luck forever.
Like many other competitors, Ali Garcia knew she had to shoot with JM if she wanted to remain competitive in bodybuilding.
I shot with JM several times. I would ask, okay, what look are we going for? Is it going to be athletic? And he's like, well, just, pack, lingerie, thongs, swimsuits. It was like less was more. The less we showed was the better.
In 2013, at a show in Orlando, JM photographed Garcia with another male competitor at the hotel pool.
So that video, it was shot by John Howley, who, he would make some good content, but he always added a very perverted twist onto stuff. Like that video of Jason Poston and I, he loops a part where I laugh and I bend over, and his hand kind of slides down my back, and he loops it to make it look like, he's doing me doggy style. And it's like, why'd you have to take something and just trash it up? But he then does a shoot or a video of me talking about what it's like to shoot with JM.
We want to do, JM really lets us be ourselves and become creative and.
I like to be collaborative.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I make it a collaborative process. I am not a total control freak about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I like. And you've seen the images, and they're hot.
Let me tell you, I am pretty sure that I was just lying out of my face, because, I think part of it was genuine, but then there were other parts where I'm like saying things to make him look good. When I still hadn't seen a return on any of this excitement or investment, I'm just thinking I have to push myself. I have to keeping myself relevant.
Shortly after the shoot, JM approached Garcia about posing nude.
When he first showed me the website, when I saw like the girls were nude, like girls that I know, and it looked like softcore porn, and I wanted to have that spit the rice out, what the hell type of reaction, but I was like, oh, okay, I see. But you don't know what to say, and you're not gonna be like, fuck that, I'm not doing that shit, because that's your boss. So now you start thinking like, is this what everyone else is doing? How can I keep this political advantage and not do that. I think I rode that as long as I could, to the point where I couldn't say anything but no. You know, it was just, I mean, that was my answer, but I felt like the moment I was like, no, everything was gonna change, which it did. I really tried to believe the industry wasn't about that, but they sure showed me.
JM's management group terminated Garcia's contract.
I thought it really sucked that it's like, dude, really? This is the only way I'm gonna, you know, hit my goal? Guess I'm not gonna hit my goal.
When there's a power dynamic, we recognize throughout society that you cannot have consent. So even if it looks like some quote unquote consensual relationship, when there's a power dynamic between people, it's really not consensual.
The websites disappeared in 2015 with no apparent explanation. It's unclear how much income JM collected from the sites. But for athletes like Henderson, the damage was done.
It just left a really bad taste in my mouth. It wasn't about the sport anymore. It was about, were you taking pictures? Were you managed by JM? Were you doing everything that you were supposed to do? And it makes me really sad now to think that I allowed myself to go through that for 7 years and put myself through that for 7 years.
Okay, so that's a pretty good summary of it, and I appreciate the fit therapist for joining and talking about some of the names and like the divisions, because like I said, I'm not very familiar with you know what is what, and I could talk about pageant divisions. I could talk about that, at least in the state of Florida, how that all works, like between Miss America and Miss USA. You know, which ones go to which, and that whole industry is another scam. Okay, let me just say, scam alert for the pageant industry, because it's all the same thing, similar to this. You know, who you're managed by, who you're trained by. It's everyone knows everybody. It's one of those things like, oh, are you in the in crowd or are you a newbie? And you can still win, I guess, if you're a new person, but it's much more likely you're going to win if you're known by, you know, the owners and they promote you in that way. Okay, so let's go back to the article and read through it. Reading through it. Okay. I'm gonna raise myself up there. Reveal all my personal data. Okay. Officials of bodybuilding's two premier federations have been sexually exploiting female athletes for decades, pressuring them to pose for nude photographs, posting these photos to softcore pornography sites, and at times manipulating contest results in favor of cooperative competitors, a Washington Post investigation has found. For more than 15 years, J.M. Manion, okay, that's the guy with the yellow baseball cap, backwards cap, whose father, Jim, that was the older man that they showed, has been running amateur and professional bodybuilding contests for decades, shot the photos, and operated a network of paid softcore pornography websites that at one point advertised over 30,000 images of competitors in the sport. A post-review of website archives identified more than 200 female athletes in photos ranging from casual bikini shots to graphic sexual images, including those of nude women together in beds, bathtubs, and showers. One of JM's site's fitness divas bluntly stated, "Your favorite fitness athletes naked." Okay, so that's like the summary of the main issue. Now here's Jen Gates, who won the figure category. So there's figure, there's bikini, and there's physique and bodybuilding. Is that right? There's like different categories depending on like what look you're going for. So she was in the figure category. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jen Gates, who won the figure category at the prestigious Olympia contest in 2008, graced the covers of fitness magazines and earned enough sponsorship money to quit her nursing job. Her manager, JM, asked her to take off her bikini top and bottoms for photos. Gates refused and was surprised recently to learn from Post reporters that her swimsuit photos had been featured alongside nude female competitors on one of JM's pornography sites. So even though she was not nude, they were still posted on the same website. She says, "I never consented to having my pictures put on a soft porn site," Gates said during an interview at her home in Indianapolis. Less than 3 years after winning the Olympia, Gates gave up the sport in disgust and warns young women to stay away from the contests. Again, like, not to like bring Heidi into this necessarily, but since we, you know, transitioned that way from her being a part of this world, you know, in some small way, or in a big way at one point, and he even was considering going back and maybe still competing in the future. Why is she not saying anything? Why doesn't she say something about it, or not support the sport anymore if this is truly what's going on? But okay, let me stop judging her so harshly. Interviews with dozens of competitors, judges, officials, and others connected to the sport reveal the systematic exploitation of female athletes, often rendered vulnerable by extreme dieting and workouts, lack of financial stability, and drive to win. The Post found that some women believed their scores depended on their willingness to pose for sexual photos or to please the sport's leading judges, promoters, and managers, almost all of whom are male. Okay? JM did not respond to the questions the Post emailed him about the allegations. Rob Rossetti, a prominent trainer who sometimes attended the photo shoots for JM's pornography websites, said the women had consented. Now, I think they can, you know, said, okay, they're not being, you know, taken photographed in the bathroom. I don't think those were ever the allegations, but like the woman in the video said, it's not really consensual if the person that is asking you to do something is the one that is determining your future as an employee or as a winner of a said competition where there's money on the line. Now that's where I would say that's the difference. Quote, in the very few photo shoots I was asked to attend, I witnessed no athlete being forced, pressured, persuaded, intimidated, or coerced into posing nude by JM or any other individual assisting in the photo shoot, Rossetti texted the Post. It was done completely on the athlete's own free will. Okay, and that's possibly the truth as well, that, you know, this is all made up and it's all just a ruse to make JM and the sport look bad. You always got to open the space and the possibility that that could be true. Mandy Henderson, a former sheriff's deputy in Santa Clara County, California, detailed in an interview how the pressure was exerted on women. She agreed to nude photography with the exception of she agreed to nude photography with the expectation of winning a pro card, which allows athletes to move from amateur competitions to the professional league. Thank you. A pro card can mean more money, sponsorships, and the chance to compete in the headlining competitions, the Arnold Classic and the Olympia. Okay, so we're going to get to in a second the difference between the male and female winner prize money, but not yet. At an amateur contest in 2009, she placed fourth and was surprised that it was taking so long for her to earn her pro card. When she asked why, she said a prominent judge told her, because you didn't come to my room last night. Okay, this sounds like Harvey Weinstein style environment. Another athlete who was at a shoot attended by Rossetti described a humiliating experience in which JM told her to undress and enter a shower with two naked women to pose for photographs. Even though she'd previously told Rossetti she didn't want to pose nude, said the woman who spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of retaliation, I cannot tell you how terrible of an experience it was. And that was the person that was in the video. Ali Garcia, a bikini competitor, said she refused to do the nude photos and had to fend off advances from judges and promoters as gently as she could to keep her career alive. She abandoned the sport in 2017 when she concluded that she would never get a top win if she didn't have sex with the power brokers. Quote, this is the only way I'm going to hit my goal, she thought. Guess I'm not going to hit my goal. The leading amateur and professional federations are run by Jim Manion, that's the older guy that we saw in the video. JM's father, a 78-year-old ex-bodybuilder from his offices in Pittsburgh. Jim Manion presides over the National Physique Committee, NPC, okay, and the International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness Pro League, known as the IFBB Pro League. Okay. Now, I have no idea what the difference is in the ins and outs of those two leagues, but that's what he controls, presides over, okay? In response to a detailed query from the Post sent to Jim Manion, the two organizations issued a statement through Hammond Strategies, a crisis communications firm that I looked for a website on and I could not find. Just saying. The guy has LinkedIn but doesn't have a website. But did not respond directly to any of the questions. A website that I could find, I'll say, just in case. This is what the crisis communications firm said. As part of our efforts to grow the sport, we have expanded events and opportunities for all competitors, grown prize purses for female athletes, and improved communications for our competitors, to raise any concerns they may have with an event or their experience. This statement said, we address all concerns raised with the utmost care, concern, and timeliness. The statement said that more than half of registered competitors are women and that many shows feature all female judging panels. Okay, that's good. At bodybuilding's biggest competitions, JM can be found front and center, his baseball cap worn backwards as he snaps pictures of muscled competitors on stage. We saw that in the video. JM was a teenager when his father took the helm of bodybuilding's newly created amateur organization. In 1977, the release of the film Pumping Iron, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, bodybuilding exploded onto the public consciousness and spawned a fitness boom in the 1980s. And it's interesting because one of the Post reporters is part of the story, and his dad was the one who promoted that movie or directed that movie. He was directly involved with the creation of that movie. It's an interesting tidbit. Bodybuilding is both a sport and art form. Athletes sculpt their bodies through weight training and diet to compete in contests where they are judged on their muscular development after performing poses on stage. The sport has multiple categories based on weight class and the degree of musculature. I have no idea what that is. Ranging from the most muscled bodybuilding to the lesser built categories of figure and bikini. Okay, the latter two are for female athletes only. So figure and bikini are for women only, and bodybuilding is for women and men. Okay, here's the difference between men and women price-wise. Prepare to be utterly shocked, okay? Prize money is awarded to the top 5 winners in the pro contests. At the top of the game is the Olympia, with Mr. Olympia claiming a reported $675,000 last year, and Miss Olympia just $60,000. Most of the hundreds of contests each year pay far less. Okay, so now we're in the situation where you aren't making that much money. It's taking all this time and effort and training and dieting and dedication, and you're making $60,000 if you're the ultimate top winner. This is where the exploitation is very easy, I would think, I would imagine, I would guess, to occur. When you have people who are not making that much money and who are desperate to have some money, that's when things get rough. And it's unfortunately with some of these amateur sports in other ways too, they say that with the Olympics as well, you can't be a professional athlete I think they changed some of the rules, but there were certain rules where you couldn't make money. You couldn't make a lot of money if you wanted to compete in the Olympics. So you had to sort of make a choice. And then they were, in a position where you're vulnerable. Anyways, okay. Yes, I agree. I agree with everyone's comments. JM, who runs the sport's online news operation, okay, that's the one that I was saying, the NPC News Online is that website that we watched the interview from. Also oversaw a management company that directed the careers of the top female competitors, including Gates. So JM has the website with the weirdo interview, I should say weirdo, awkward, badly audioed interview, and the videos of the competitors walking on stage. And he also has a management company that directed the careers of the top female competitors, including Gates. He served as a gateway to endorsement deals, magazine covers, and other financially promising opportunities, and could shut down income potential or competitive success if an athlete crossed him, numerous competitors said. Okay, numerous competitors, not just one. Numerous. 2 former officials told the Post that they witnessed other officials either inflating scorecards in favor of competitors managed by JM or trying to. Steve O'Brien, who served as a judge and district chairman of the NPC for Northern California, recounted 2 incidents when he said John Tooman, a judge, changed scores once after O'Brien observed him discussing the placings with Jim and JM Manion. Jim Rockwell, who was once the head judge of the Olympia and a close associate of Jim Manion, so that's the dad, before falling out, said that Tooman once chided him at an event about his placings and suggested he make changes. Tumen leans over to me and says, you know that girl that you got in 4th or 5th place? That's one of JM's girls, Raquel recalled. He said he did not change his scores. Okay, so he's basically accusing Tumen of trying to get them to change the scores up from 4th and 5th to a higher ranking. Okay, obviously. O'Brien and Raquel said that some years ago, Tumen was suspended as a judge after his then fiance provided evidence that Tumen had affairs with contestants while he was judging. Several athletes also complained to officials about Tumen's behavior, they said. Months later, Jim Manion called O'Brien to discuss reinstating Tumen, which O'Brien resisted, but Manion overruled him. Jim's remedy was, I'm not going to have him judge women, O'Brien said. Well, that didn't last very long. Soon, Tumen was back to judging all kinds of contests across the country, O'Brien said. Tumen declined to comment on specific allegations. Okay, now, that guy, just so we know who we're talking about here, I believe this is Mr. Tumen. Okay, here is a look at who this person is, just so we have some idea. This is the guy who is accused of, the fiance has accused of sleeping with the competitors and was banned and then reinstated, according to the article.
Hi, John, I'm going to let you take over.
Hi, I want to thank my wife, my beautiful wife, Noelle, for interviewing me. It's the first time she has interviewed me. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Jim Manion, the president of the NPC and the president of the IFBB Pro League, for giving my partners and I, Ted Williamson, Hani Rambot, and I, the opportunity to be part of NPC IFBB for close to 30 years. We are very proud of the product and the customer service that NPC and IFBB provides to all the athletes. And
so they're satisfied. He's satisfied with what they've provided these athletes. Okay, great. Just so you know, that's who we're talking about. I like to show faces if possible because, I don't know, it helps me like understand and kind of get a better connection to the story when I'm reading it in written form. Okay. So that's him. All right, let's see. Okay, so he declined to comment on specific allegations. Here's a photo from 2022. That's the Arnold Classic in Columbus. Raquel said he often observed Jim Manion complimenting JM's clients to the judges during contests. Quote, and these are the women that were winning, he added. The federations declined to answer questions about JM's influence on the contests, but the Post found that at the 2013 Olympia, among the 20 athletes who placed in the top 10 of the bikini or figure divisions, so that's the female-only categories, at least 18 were at one time listed on JM's business websites as clients. Okay, that to me paints a fairly interesting figure. The Post attempted to contact more than 80 of the 200 athletes who appeared on JM's websites. The majority did not respond to requests for comment. 20 women agreed to speak to Post reporters about their experiences. Of those, 9 women who had posed nude agreed to be interviewed, with 8 speaking on the condition of anonymity, oh my God, I can never pronounce that. Anonymously, okay, let's just say that. Out of fear of retribution from the Manion family and damage to their current careers if the photos received public attention. Several women described personal problems and vulnerabilities that made them susceptible for posing nude. Financial strain, troubles at home, or feeling they had no other option if they wanted to advance in the sport. Okay, this is the problem. This is a problem when, I don't know, this is a problem when you're being told like this is something you need to do to prove to yourself that you're worthy of being a person or being a woman or whatever. And that's where I find the message between what Heidi's saying about like, I need to do this because it makes me uncomfortable. This is something I need to do to prove to myself. If it makes you uncomfortable, there's probably a reason. Even if it's like a feeling in your stomach that something's wrong, it could be because something's probably wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, this is a thing you have to overcome and do. And it sucks that like, I don't know, it just sucks that this is like what's happening. The women told the Post that nude photos shoots were often held a day or two before the weekend competitions, and they believed that their odds of winning depended on their state of undress. So, okay, so they just happened that a couple days before they're gonna go on stage among people who know the judges. Now they're doing these nude photo competitions. So it's sort of, again, wink, wink, nod, nod. You wanna win? Okay, do this naked photo shoot. That's what it seems like. The events were so regular, a former judge and top Manion lieutenant, Lee Thompson, told the Post that they were called Thursday shower nights. Okay? Thompson, who split with the Manions several years ago, said that Jim Manion would sometimes clear out of his hotel suite so that JM could do the shoots there, indicating that the elder Manion was aware of his son's photo shoots. Okay, so this is not like, oh, the son is just doing this stuff, according to this article, on his own. It's a coordinated effort. JM advertised fan clubs of certain women, charging roughly $10 a month for access to their photos. Oh, how nice of him to pimp out these women, literally, on the internet. Several women said they did not know they had been featured on the websites until Post reporters notified them. Other women described signing contracts that promise a 50-50 profit split with JM's company, which is a horrible deal, along with a regular review of invoices. With one exception, the women told the Post they did not recall receiving money from income the websites generated. One woman said she got just $40. Post reporters reviewed 3 athlete contracts along with emails exchanged between JM or his associates and some of the competitors. Okay, so not only was he putting these women's pictures online, he was making money for them and not paying them for it. Allegedly. Okay, and this is Nancy Hogshead Makar. She is an Olympic gold medalist swimmer and a lawyer who runs Champion Women, a group that advocates for girls and women in sports, said that bodybuilding managers, judges, or promoters may have more sway over athletes because the sport is based on subjective scoring. That's what I was saying. That there's not a weight that you have to lift. There's not a hoop that you can throw the ball in. It is what that judge thinks on that day, and it's up to them to rank you how they see fit. And with human issues, with human decisions, human errors can occur. The power dynamic means that the sport has a responsibility to protect its athletes, she said. The bodybuilding industry should be subject to very strict precautions for athletes. It's not consent when it's your boss and it's someone that holds power over you. The Manion's bodybuilding empire is a private, for-profit company with no oversight structure or requirement to share revenue or membership numbers. Okay, that's also something I find interesting. It's not like there's a coalition of groups that is regulating this and that there's multiple companies that are, getting overseen by anybody ethically. And how, again, like, this is where this stuff runs rampant. And I think, this is my opinion, I think this thing should be boycotted completely, this whole industry. And you might say, well, that's only the women, and the men, it's totally different. I think the men should step up and say no as well. And until the whole sport's fixed, let's all burn it to the ground. But, I'm not involved in the industry, so I know it's different when you're, competing and this is something you're passionate about. It's easy for me to say, someone who's not doing it, but it just doesn't seem fair. Competitors described an overall lack of transparency within the sport. They told the Post that the organizations are devoid of any meaningful safeguards for athletes, such as a human resources department, health insurance, or unions that could protect against abuses of power. For Gates, the sport lost its way with the addition of the bikini division, which was introduced to the Olympia competition in 2010. Okay, so that's the less built body category, one of them. I don't know what woman would want other women to stand up on stage and turn around and show their behinds and then be told to walk halfway across the stage and poke their butts out. Why are we doing this? That's the exact pose that we saw Heidi do in that video. While Gates said her ability to say no to powerful men, including JM, spared her from the most degrading situations, others said they sometimes felt trapped in hotel rooms with power brokers who could make or break their careers. Former competitor Amber Littlejohn, who now works as a lawyer in D.C., said the culture values compliance and punishes those who speak out. She said women in the sport find themselves ripe for predation. predation. Oh my God, I can't read. Ripe for predation, becoming prey of a predator. Because of the amount of money they invest and their dependence on the Manion family to succeed. Jeweled posing bikinis can cost $1,000. Okay. Yikes, because I guess they're bejeweled or whatever. Ugh. And women reported spending thousands of dollars to compete. That's also true with pageants as well. The dresses are insanity, like thousands of, I got mine thrifted when I went. So I got 2 dresses. One was my prom dress and one was a thrifted dress. So I didn't have to pay that. But the joining fee to like enter is like $500. And they tell you, cause like, you know, they're like, oh, you just go, cause you get a sponsorship ad space in the book that you could like get a manicure salon or something to sponsor you. And that's what they suggest you do if you don't have the money. But like 99%, including myself, like I used my ad for like Save the Manatee Foundation when I did it one year. And the other girls, like just their parents put their photo in like, good luck, honey. You know, they said like you can get sponsored, but absolutely no one that I knew that competed got sponsored. It was like their parents were putting up the $500 entry fee. And the $500 entry fee basically pays for the stage and the judges to be there. And if you win, then you get a free entry into the next competition, the next level. And I did the Miss USA, not the Miss America. So there was no talent that needed to be performed. So if you're a Miss USA, you do local, state, national, like Miss USA, and then Miss Universe. That's like the ultimate path that you can take. Anyways, off topic. I'm not surprised at all by anything that can be said about these people because I've watched them do it for so long, said Little John, who posed one time in a bikini for JM. Nothing has changed for the athletes. If anything, it's gotten worse. Epic booty pose. Okay. After an amateur event in New Jersey earlier this year, JM lined up 9 of the top female competitors on the asphalt in front of a New Jersey Marriott, their backs to him. All right, so this will be the epic booty pose, he tells them, according to video footage posted on the NPC News online website. That's the website I brought up before with the different videos, interviews. He directs the women to stick out their butts and brace themselves with a hand on the athlete next to them. JM, now 59, grew up in the bodybuilding world and then became official photographer and senior writer for NPC News in the mid-'80s when it was a magazine. JM's ventures converged in the late 90s when he launched his erotic fitness paid website to sell topless and fully nude photos of star female bodybuilders. Gym workouts sans tops are so rare, the website stated. How many times have you been in a gym, seen a fine babe, and wished she was doing those chest flies topless? Oh my God. I want to throw up. Hold on. Erotic Fitness folded in 2000, but JM soon launched larger websites, Alluring Fitness and Fitness Divas. Over time, his photography grew more sexually graphic and targeted in its attempts to lure paid subscribers. The websites disappeared in 2015 with no explanation. It is unclear how much income JM collected from the sites. A post-review of JM's past websites found that of the more than 200 featured athletes, a third posed in bikinis, which are traditionally worn for bodybuilding and fitness competitions. More than a quarter of the women pose either fully or partially nude or in suggestive settings, according to archived images of the website reviewed by Pose reporters. A smaller number pose in lingerie. For others, the nature of the photography could not be discerned from archival screenshots. A handful of women said they had no problem with lingerie or sensual photographs and did not view the photography as a significant departure from a sport judged on one's appearance in little clothing. I find this so interesting because it does sound like it's part of like the porn industry or the adult entertainment industry more so than it is a fitness industry, at least when it comes to women. Now, for men, it seems like, yes, this is an integral thing that Dave Hollis can go and do and prove to himself that he's a dedicated man that can, stick to his own routine, whatever. But for women, it's like, oh no, this is like, you're basically in lingerie, so you might as well just pose for these photos. It's very interesting, that the split and how different it's perceived. I actually love doing pictures, said Timea Morova, a former professional competitor who was born in the former Czechoslovakia. She said she benefited from JM's career management in the 90s, when then, in her early 20s and knowing little English, she tried to adjust to life in the United States. Another perfect position to be vulnerable, but she seems to be happy, so that's good. He was very nice to me. He never pushed me to do anything, she said, noting that she never posed nude, nor did JM ask her to do so. As far as I know, the girls I worked with, they never told me they were pushed to do anything. Several women spoke to the Post about their experiences on the condition of anonymity to protect their privacy and out of fear of retaliation. One woman who competed from 2008 to 2010 said that she signed with JM because she believed he would look out for her and help her gain a platform in the fitness industry. Her first photo shoot took place with other women, all in bikinis, on a California beach. But the next photo shoot took a troubling turn, she said. A couple of days before a competition, she said, she was asked to join two women in a hotel room wearing lingerie and posing in bed. Then JM asked her to remove her clothing. She agreed. I felt that if I said no, that could end my career, she said, but that could have just been me. I knew how known and powerful JM was in that world, and that was the choice I made. I call it the dark side. She recalled signing an agreement that promised an equal profit split with JM's company, though she no longer has the document. She said she never received any compensation for the images, nor was she aware that they remained advertised on the website through 2014, though she had quit the sport 4 years earlier. Agreeing to the photography stripped the joy from the sport, she said. I felt ashamed. I felt like a failure. I felt scared. I felt like I made poor decisions, and then I felt trapped. That's horrible. All right, we're almost done. Ish. A second woman, then a single mother who competed in the early 2010s, described a similar rapid progression from an initial bikini shoot to nude photography. That's how he operates, she said, of JM, noting that women developed a whisper network to warn one another of what was next. And that's also very common in these industries. It's like, I heard in like even like the New York comedy scene, like a lot of the people, especially women that were in it, like knew about, what's his name? What's the guy's name? Oh my God, Louis C.K. That was known in the circles, but everyone would just be like, watch out for him. And that seems to be something I hear about a lot. Like, it, you know, and same thing with Harvey Weinstein. People were joking about it on like news or, you know, award shows. And it was like this like known secret, or like Leo DiCaprio, like his whole thing with like women and all that. Like usually this stuff is talked about before it's brought, you know, into attention. And some of it is because they don't want to ruin their career. I get that. They don't want to be the one to step out, and they don't want to be called like a liar. It's hard to prove this stuff, but it's really powerful when a group of people come together and, you know, speak their truth. Excuse me. Hold on. There's a lot of reading, sorry. Okay. She said holding such photo shoots before competitions amounted to taking advantage of women who dieted and trained to the extreme for months, knowing that contest results were on the line. A third woman who competed in the mid to late 2000s said that JM once suggested she dress in comic hero costumes, catering to his fascination with comic book culture and his desire to show real-life female bodybuilders as fictional, sensual superheroes who fought off villains. Interesting. Then she said he directed her to strike a sexy pose and undress. Though she could not locate the document, she recalls signing a contract that included language about photo shoots and paid websites and promised a 50-50 profit split with JM's company. She did not have a problem with tasteful nudity and needed the money. Bodybuilding was not cheap, she said. But after being photographed, she felt mortified, especially when several contest judges remarked that they had seen her photos. JM wanted her to promote the website to drive up membership numbers, she said, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. I never got $1, she said. Not too long after, JM terminated her contract, telling her, I never made any money off of you, she said. The effort to recruit women to pose provocatively extended beyond the Manions. Multiple women described close associates of the family who introduced them to JM and encouraged them to do whatever he asked, saying that it would launch their careers from amateur status to professionals. Earning a coveted pro card could make bodybuilding less of an expensive hobby and more of an income-generating career. The women said the network of enablers allowed sexual harassment to thrive in plain sight. They described judges and promoters requesting private visits to their hotel rooms and sponsors making sexual passes. When Gates arrived to Los Angeles in 2009 to promote a supplements company, the owner, Mo El-Osawi, okay, I wrote him down. Let's see. This guy. Okay, so this one still says CEO of Extreme Nutrition of New Zealand. He's the president of the New Zealand IFBB Pro League, Mr. Olympia judge, two-time Mr. Olympia top 10 finalist, husband, father, brother, friend. Okay, this guy. This is his back. And in the comment it says, when you're trying to hit back double biceps and you see da-da-da-da-da-da and President Jim Manion are looking at you. So, there you go. Okay, this guy. When Gates traveled to Los Angeles in 2009 to promote a supplements company, the owner, Mo El-Osawi, asked her to stay with him. She called JM to ask how to handle the request since she did not feel comfortable. JM told her she risked making the sponsor angry. She booked her own hotel. On a trip to New Zealand, Gates said El-Mosawi made an aggressive pass at her while the two were traveling together. She bolted from his truck to escape, she said, and shortly afterward recounted the story to her then partner, whom she has since married, and a coach. The Post confirmed that account with both of them. Reached for comment in New Zealand, El-Mosawi denied any impropriety. I honestly can't believe she would say anything negative about me, he texted the Post. I have always treated her with ultimate respect, and when she came to New Zealand, she met with my wife and kids. Okay. Henderson, the former sheriff's deputy, heard about JM's success as a manager from Tumen, whom she met through a trainer at her gym. Tumen, okay, that one is this guy. Again, just to remind you, that's Tumen. Assured her that if she signed with JM and did the photo shoot, she said she would win her pro card. Henderson recalled that in 2005, the day before her first competition, Tumen told her to visit his hotel room to learn how to pose. I was a little nervous to meet anybody in their hotel room by myself, she said. I was a cop at this time, so I did have a little bit of a clue that maybe going into someone's hotel room, a male that I had just met, would not be a good idea. Her husband and young son tagged along. Tumen was clearly surprised when he opened the door, she said. The look on his face, it was kind of like, oh, you brought your husband and your son, she said. It was kind of like that, like, oh, I didn't expect that. Tumen also served as the competition's head judge. She placed poorly, and Henderson said, why is the judge teaching posing to the competitors the night before of the competition? That just seems like completely unethical. Okay. Tumen also served as competition's head judge. She placed poorly, and Henderson said that Tumen then suggested she meet JM for career guidance. Over the next 2 years, despite posing for JM in a bikini photo shoot, Henderson continued to struggle in competitions. She said Tumen assured her that doing more photo shoots and signing with JM would result in a pro card. In an email to JM, which Henderson shared with the Post, she wrote that she had no issue with nudity and was eager to take photos. JM sent her a contract with her name filled in, promising a 50-50 profit split for websites that involve Playboy-style photos. Henderson recalls signing it and faxing it back, although the emails do not confirm that the agreement was ever finalized. Her first nude photo shoot occurred in a Las Vegas hotel room with 2 other women during a competition weekend. She said JM took the photos while Tumen directed the women. In one photo, Henderson appears nude with the other athletes, according to archive website images. In another photo, the 3 women pose in bed together wearing high heels and red lingerie. Quote, it was, John saying, okay, take off your tops, and okay, tug on that. You guys pretend to look at each other and pretend to kiss or do this. You turn around and stick your butts out, and we're fully naked. I just remember thinking to myself, okay, this is all worth it. I was now doing this shoot, and I was going to get my pro card. And then I was going to go and be this big, famous fitness girl. During the shoot, she said Tumen approached her from behind. He put his hands on my shoulder, and he put his groin against my rear end, she said. He told her that she looked really, really good and that the photo shoot looked really hot. She laughed it off but felt deeply uncomfortable. It was absolutely disgusting, she said. Reached last week by the Post, Tuman said, "I don't know what you are talking about. I'm a married man. I'm a family man. I have no idea what you're talking about." Asked whether he wanted to hear about specific allegations, Tuman said, "No, I don't, because it's all lies." Okay. Henderson posed nude for at least one other group photo shoot. Her husband, Kenneth Henderson, said in a phone interview that his wife frequently confided in him about what was happening. There was a normalcy. It wasn't like you said no. I never heard of someone saying no. At a 2009 national competition, Henderson placed fourth. She was livid that her pro card status remained elusive despite agreeing to nude photography. Once off stage, she confronted Tuman saying, "What the F? Why didn't I get my pro card?" When he told her she hadn't visited him the night before, she grew even angrier. Henderson raised her voice and asked, "So you're saying that because I didn't go to your room and give you a blowjob, or F you, I didn't get my pro card today?" Tuman told her that she had misunderstood the comment, she said. In 2010, Henderson placed first in the USA Championships, an NPC competition, and finally earned her pro card. Then she quit the sport. It sucks. "It was not the best person on stage that was winning," she said. "It was the person that was JM's favorite, or whoever was doing the most for JM and whoever would bring in the most money." Henderson's law enforcement career later ended in scandal after she was accused of faking an injury and improperly collecting workers' compensation benefits. In 2019, she pleaded no contest to a felony count of making a false or fraudulent claim or statement and was sentenced to 6 months of house arrest. After successfully completing probation, Henderson's record was expunged, according to county court records. That's interesting. She has returned to the sport, which is even more interesting, competing in the Manion's IFBB Pro Masters Bikini division for athletes over 40. I think that'd be the one that Heidi would be in, I believe. She said that this time her eyes are open. "It's still a toxic environment. It hasn't changed much," she said. "I am truly competing for myself." Okay, Team Bombshell. Thompson, a former senior judge on the bodybuilding circuit, admits to witnessing inappropriate behavior and engaging in it himself. Sins, he said, that he acknowledged only after finding religion. Okay, so this is a former senior judge on the bodybuilding circuit. So it doesn't say exactly where, but that he was a part of the problem. Thompson said that early in his judging career, he got a quick education in the power that judges hold over athletes. While in his hotel room, Thompson said he got a call from Shannon Day, a coach for bodybuilders who now runs a group of competitors called Team Bombshell. Day told him that she wanted to send a woman to his room to make sure that she looked great for the next day's competition. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great. Okay. If you're a judge, why? I don't get it. If you're a judge, that should be, you're judging on them on stage. That's it. There's no hotel room. Let me show you how to do it, ladies. Like, it's disgusting. No. Bad idea. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great, Thompson said. Like, I don't even know what judges do at this point. Okay. Then he said the woman walked into his room, dropped her robe, and was naked underneath. He said she began to spin around and asked him, "Is there anything that I might do to make your life a little easier today?" Thompson sheepishly said no. Later that evening, he said that Tuman, the show promoter, quipped, "I heard you didn't partake of the fruit." God. Art Sims, Chief Information Officer and General Counsel for Team Bombshell, denied the allegation in an email to the Post. Ms. Day denies any knowledge of any such conversation or any such incident that Mr. Thompson alleges occurred to which he was attributed any participation or knowledge thereof. Okay. After that, Thompson said his life spun out and he had frequent sexual encounters with competitors. In 2015, Thompson fell out publicly with the Manions after a legal dispute over the future of the organization in which he tried to establish a rival bodybuilding federation. So, okay, this could be seen as this guy has beef with the JM people and, could he be lying? I don't know. It's all very, again, subjective. Like, this is there's issues with this whole industry. Like, you don't know who to trust or who to listen to. Several of the women who posed nude described being recruited by Team Bombshell's Day and Rossetti. The couple have since divorced, but Day continues to run Bombshell. One woman, a former Bombshell team member who spoke on the condition of anonymity out of privacy concerns, shared emails from Day that instructed her top athletes on how to keep JM happy during photo shoots. Quote, "This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to shoot with the man who made the careers of some of the greatest IFBB pros," Day wrote in April 2009. "I cannot stress enough how fortunate we are to have been chosen." The email included numbered rules for the shoot at Manion Studio in Pittsburgh. No full bottom suits, Brazilian and thong bottoms only, Day wrote. Absolutely, no complaining. If it's cold, you don't act cold. If it's hot, don't act hot. Hungry, don't say a word, etc. This is such a thing that is put on women, I think, by other women or men as well, that it's like if you want to be successful in show business, you need to not complain ever. And that's something that I was told by my mom. I was never doing anything like this, but like she would always say, don't complain. Don't ever say anything that could make you stand out in a negative way because you won't be chosen. Like in the pageants, for example, like don't ever say anything's wrong or else you'll be, blacklisted immediately. And it's so detrimental to women, men as well, but like it's so common. I feel like it's like there are all these things going on and you're told like, if you don't want to be difficult and you want to find success, just shut up and be quiet. And I hate that that's still going on. Okay. She added that no friends, boyfriends, or husbands could attend. The Bombshell team member said she attended a photo shoot in a hotel room with JM, another female competitor, and edible props, including whipped cream and chocolate. JM photographed the scene. "I kind of felt like this is the game and you've got to play along because this is the son of the head of the sport." Yeah. A second Bombshell member who spoke on the condition of anonymity to protect her privacy recalled that she had repeatedly made it clear to both Rossetti and JM that she would pose topless but would never agree to full nudity. At a national competition roughly a decade ago, JM requested that she attend a photo shoot involving 2 other women. "I hear JM call my name and I'm thinking he needs me to hold a reflector or a light or something," she said. She rounded the corner in the hotel and saw JM standing near a bathroom and Rossetti sitting on a love seat. "I'm like, hey, what do you need?" she recalled. JM nodded toward the 2 women who were naked in the shower and he says, "Get in." And I'm like, "What?" she said. And he says, "Get in with them." She looked to Rossetti for help, she said, because he also knew her objections to full nude photographs, but he did not intervene. "You pulled the rug out from under me and set me up," she thought. The woman said she viewed noncompliance as career suicide. She undressed and stood in the corner of the shower as far away as possible from the other 2 women. When it was over, she went back to her hotel room, sick to her stomach. Rossetti told the Post that at the shoots he attended, the women signed a release form before the shoots and were well aware, days in advance, that they were glamour fitness photography sessions, he said in a text message. What the athletes brought to the shoots was their decision. Outfits were not provided by anyone. If they wished to be photographed in swimsuits, lingerie, implied nude, or nude, it was done completely on the athlete's own free will. Okay, blacklisted. Many of the women interviewed said that saying no to the Manions had its price. Ava Cowan, who competed professionally in the figure category, said JM attempted to sign her in the mid-2000s after she showed early promise, but a friend who was a lawyer reviewed the contract, telling Cowan she would be out of her mind to sign. "He will own you," the friend warned. After she blew off JM's proposed contract, Cowan said she placed poorly in a national show. Frustrated, she took to an online bodybuilding forum to voice her objections over the family's outsized influence. "I posted a paragraph about how corrupt everything was, how you have to sign a contract to place well, how it's all like the mafia," she said. Less than an hour later, she deleted the post. But the damage was done, she said, noting that she soon heard her remarks had gotten back to the Manions. Cowan said she was blacklisted for 4 years as she struggled to make any income. "You can never come back. Even if you're back, you're ostracized forever. I was just kind of dragged through the mud eternally." After a potential sponsor said he did not want to upset the Manions by signing her, she said she was able to salvage the deal by apologizing to the family for her remarks. Cowan also agreed to pose for JM in lingerie. "I wouldn't do nudity," she said. "I don't judge it, but I do judge it. What I do judge is when you feel like you have to do it to place well." In 2011, she finished number 3 in the figure category at both the Arnold Classic and Olympia competitions. Later, in a final attempt to reach the top, she said she signed with JM. Her career fizzled soon after, she said, when she suffered a neck injury during a backstage accident. Weird. Garcia, the bikini Garcia, the bikini competitor who said she refused sexual advances, said that crossing JM could quickly kill a career. When her son had just turned 1 and was still breastfeeding, she entered her first bodybuilding contest. Her coach advised her to try to sign with JM's fitness management group. The girls on that team, they usually place better, Garcia said. People know who they are. At the next show, she asked JM for a chance. Soon, she had a contract, a pro card, and an invitation to Pittsburgh for a bikini shoot in his studio. She was short on money and caring for her baby, but did not hesitate to make the 4-hour drive from D.C. JM began setting her competitive schedule, and Garcia started to do well. At a show in Orlando in April 2013, she placed 3rd behind 2 of his athletes who would later win the Olympia. The following day, she was invited to a hotel pool for a photo shoot with a male competitor. Okay, this is the one that we saw in the video. While JM shot still photographs, a videographer filmed the scene under a pool waterfall with Garcia in a thong bikini and the male bodybuilder in tight shorts. I want the models to be themselves and loosen up, JM says in a video. At one point, Garcia bent forward laughing while the man put his hand on her back. She says that the video was edited to make it look like the two were having sex. Videographer John Hawley, in a text message to her Post reporter, said he edited the film to emphasize the look JM appeared to be going for. Garcia says now she cringes at the footage, particularly the flattery she directed towards JM at the time. She calls the photos hot and said she was happy. I'm pretty sure I was just lying out of my face, she now says. JM soon approached her about shooting nude for a website where the athletes make money. He pulled out his phone, she said, showed him some of the website photos. 2 athletes she knew, both naked and making out in a shower. I started to make the connection, she said, recognizing some of the women who had bested her in recent competitions. I was like, oh my goodness. Garcia explained to JM that she drew the line at bikini shoots. She had a young son and couldn't imagine having nude photos online that he might find someday. Not long afterwards, a letter from JM arrived in the mail. At this time, since we have nothing in the foreseeable horizon for you in terms of paid work, we are officially terminating your bikini fitness figure competitor model contract with Fitness Management Group, read the letter Garcia shared with the Post. Garcia said she viewed the termination as a direct result of refusing to take nude photographs. In the years since, she has struggled to maintain steady employment, survived a major car accident, and experienced bouts of homelessness. To Gates, the demand on female athletes were bad enough, but the bikini division horrified her. After she left the sport, women came to her and asked her to coach them so they could compete in the bikini contest for the NPC and potentially the Olympia. Gates had never seen a bikini show. And then I started watching it online, and there is no way I'm going to work with a girl and tell her how to turn around and poke her ass out. I can't do it. I feel like it got a lot worse after I got out, which is kind of like a godsend for me that I did get out. All right, there you go, folks. That is the article. That is the story that I found to be extremely compelling and to me seems true. I know that was very long. I appreciate you sticking around and listening to the end of it to get through all the accusations. But there's more coming out about the family. The article hasn't published yet. I don't know when it's supposed to come out. But there's a part 2 to it that I have not been able to read yet. But yeah, it just seems like this is something that I would love to hear the perspective of people who are still interested in this sport. Like, why? What is the drive forward with this sport? And do you agree with what this article says or not? I just think, again, one of them, let me confirm this before I say it, but I'm pretty sure, now if this is his real, I believe this is his Instagram, the JM guy. I requested to follow it, I think. Oh no, I requested to follow my Keys World account. So that's the guy, followed by Heidi Powell, and I believe Chris Powell as well. Now, that doesn't mean... let me follow him real quick. That doesn't mean that he supports or they support him, but the fact that they're following him on his private account, it would appear... Yeah, okay, he follows him too. It would appear that they know something. They at least know him. Yeah. So... what do you got to say? Like, I want to know what is it true? Do you agree? Were you a part of this at all? And when Heidi joined, like I said, she was already doing the show. So, she might have avoided all of this, like, oh, you need to show me that you care type of behavior, because, that seems to be like for people who want to get a start, who want to get ahead in the business or have a chance. If she was already famous, maybe she doesn't have to do that stuff to get in the door, because she's already got a show and she's already kind of like the darling of the group. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. Is that true? If she's okay, here's my response to that. I don't disagree with you, but she is also charging hundreds of dollars to train people in fitness, but also not just fitness, in your mental health as well. And she's claiming that, she can help you become a better version of yourself, and she's going to teach you life skills through her trainings. It's like you're hosting $3,000 plus weekend seminars about life and how to become a butterfly and empower women, and yet you can't say like whether you agree. I don't know. It just seems like get out of that industry then too, like as a coach. But maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't know. I'm open to criticism. And Dave too. Dave should also say something as well. I don't think he, as he enters his first competition, gets a peek behind the scenes, and it's around the same time this article comes out. Now, of course, it could be like, oh, I have no idea. I didn't read it. But I'm sure it was discussed. I would imagine at somebody sent someone a text like, yo, did you see this? And if not, that's very odd.